Right now, you are staring at a glowing rectangle. You probably checked it 3 times in the last hour. Your brain is terrified of empty time, constantly seeking a quick hit of stimulation to fill the void. It feels like a strictly modern disease. You assume humans have always fought this feeling of endless distraction. But the real answer is far stranger. Boredom is actually the reason you exist. Think about your ancient ancestors. Picture a hunter standing on a savanna. The hunt is over. The roots are gathered. The sun is slowly going down. What did your ancestors actually do with all that empty time? You might imagine their lives as a constant, brutal struggle for survival. You picture them fighting off predators every single second of the day. But the reality of human history looks very different. Anthropologist James Sussman has spent decades studying modern foraging societies to understand our evolutionary past. He discovered that early humans likely only worked about 15 hours a week to meet their basic survival needs. The rest of their time was completely unallocated. They had massive stretching hours of absolute nothingness. How did they survive the silence? The truth is they got deeply, profoundly bored. Boredom is not a modern glitch. It is a biological survival mechanism deeply hardwired into your nervous system. Emotion historian Peter Toohey argues that boredom acts as an evolutionary alarm clock. It forces your brain to recognize when your current situation is utterly useless and signals a desperate need for change. It forces you to move. Why does this matter? Because without that uncomfortable itch, your ancestors would have stagnated. If sitting and staring at a dirt wall felt totally satisfying, early humans would never have migrated across continents. They would never have experimented with new tools or fire. They would have just sat there comfortably until they starved. Boredom was the psychological friction that forced them to get up and do something else. But ancient humans could not just reach into their pockets for a distraction. They had to invent their own stimulation. They had to engage with the physical world around them to quiet their minds. Look at the archaeological record. Researchers have uncovered hollowed-out vulture bones dating back 40,000 years. They are ancient flutes. We find intricately carved animal figures that serve zero practical purpose for hunting, gathering, or surviving. Why spend dozens of hours carving a tiny mammoth out of ivory? Because your brain craves cognitive engagement just as fiercely as your stomach craves calories. When the environment stops providing interesting inputs, the brain forcefully turns inward. Psychologist Sandy Mann studies the neuroscience of empty time. She discovered that when you strip away external stimulation, your mind enters a highly active neurological state. It randomly connects distant memories and abstract thoughts to invent entirely new concepts. This state is called mind wandering. Did you know it is the birthplace of all human creativity? Your ancestors used their boredom to build human culture. They gossiped around the fire. They painted complex murals on cave ceilings deep underground to satisfy their desperate need for cognitive friction. They invented myths to explain the stars. They created complex social games. How else could they survive the overwhelming silence of the prehistoric world? Now look at your life today. Fast forward to the present moment. You have completely eliminated the friction of empty time. You engineered a world where you never have to sit in silence for a single second. Endless entertainment is always within arm's reach. Your brain never has to generate its own stimulation ever again. Why build a flute from a bone when a screen can sing for you instantly? You are constantly feeding the evolutionary alarm clock. You hit snooze before it can ever truly ring. By ruthlessly killing your boredom with constant consumption, you are also killing a crucial part of your humanity. You are suppressing the exact biological trigger that made your ancestors so incredibly inventive. Your brain is slowly unlearning how to wander. It is forgetting how to create. You are terrified of the silence. You run from the empty moments. But the next time you feel that restless itch, maybe you should just let it sit. Put down the glowing rectangle.